All right, hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Harvey Jurgen, Simple Solutions Real Estate in Columbus, Ohio. We're here again, classes with Christi. Christi Hawkins, 25 years of real estate experience, and today we're talking about what documents you need to buy a property or sell a property. And as a disclaimer that this is very general information, please consult your attorney slash real estate professional slash broker for your specific requirements in these transactions, based on your location and your role in those transactions. This is not gospel. This is just guidance. So without further ado, Christi, when we are either going to buy or sell a property, what's the most important document or the first document you want to talk about?
The most important document is the residential property disclosure form. And to me, it's the most important because sometimes people have a misunderstanding of its importance. And the seller, by law, has to disclose to you any material or latent defects in the household. And this document is what you'll need in the event that if he doesn't disclose to you, that the roof leaks, that, the plumbing needs repaired, that the public water source isn't sufficient or the private water source isn't sufficient.
And what does latent mean?
Latent means hidden. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, latent means something that you can't see. Like if the roof's leaking, you can typically see that the roof's leaking. Yeah. But let's say it's something behind the walls that you can't see when you're going through a property, but that he knows about. Mm-hmm. He has to disclose to you all those things.
Okay. All right. So let's recap. So this is a document for the seller to fill out, correct?
Yes, it has to be filled out by the seller. It cannot be filled out by the listing agent, cannot be filled out by anybody else. It has to be filled out by the seller only.
By the seller, by the property owner. And it basically is a document of honesty telling the buyer or would-be buyers about any issues with the house or property that they are aware of, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And it needs to be on that form and it needs to be truthful. I would just say, as a real estate agent, if you have specific questions about the residential property disclosure form, if you don't know where to get that form, I'd either check in with your broker if you're a real estate agent. If you are a seller, I would check in with a real estate agent maybe, or where else can I find this form to make sure that I'm covering myself?
You can find this form on the Ohio Division of Real Estate's website.
Okay.
They have very specific forms on there that can help you get started.
Okay. And again, this is specific to Ohio. So
right.
That's a perfect place to go for in Ohio. Okay. All right. I would say that's a very important document, but probably the most important document has got to be the contract, right? Because
yes,
we're not even talking about anything unless we have some form of agreement. So
right.
What is the contract, if you will?
Well, the contract is basically a written agreement of terms and conditions on the sale of the property. So everything you want, everything you've discussed, everything you agreed to needs to be in this contract or an addendum to this contract.
Okay.
Because if it's not written down, it doesn't exist.
All right. So I need the contract. Does it need to be any specific contract?
Well, typically it needs to be, like I'm using a Franklin County Realtor contract. It needs to be a state of Ohio. And every board of realtors within the state of Ohio will have their own contract.
Okay. I probably can sell my house on, again, consult your attorney for any of these issues. But I probably can sell my property with any document that is spells out the terms of my agreement with another person, whether I'm going to buy or sell, assuming that I'm not a real estate agent. But if I wanted to use the actual purchase contract that everyone else in my local area is using, where should I go to find that?
Well, you would have to call a listing agent. You would have to call a real estate agent. Or I would suggest if you don't want to list, if you don't want to go through an agent, then yes, call an attorney. Call your own first, or call a real estate attorney. Yes. They'll have a document similar to this.
Yes, great idea. Okay. All right. So we had the real estate residential property disclosure form, which we can get on the Division of Real Estate's website. Mm-hmm. And we have a contract of some sort that spells out the terms and condition, highly recommend that we have a legal
Yes.
professional provide and review that contract, and probably review the RPD as well, or have a conversation with them to make
At
sure
least
that
have a conversation.
okay. All right, let's go to number 3. What's the third document that we need?
The third document is the agency document. And this is when and if there is a realtor involved. If there is a realtor involved, they have to disclose to you agency. And what agency means is who's representing whom in the transaction. So if there is a real estate agent involved in the transaction, they have to disclose to you. They have to disclose to you even if just that they're a real estate agent. They might not be representing you. They might just be facilitating the sale,
Yep.
helping you out, and you're paying them a flat fee.
Yep.
But they have to still disclose to you that they are a real estate agent so that everybody knows
Yep.
who's representing whom in this real estate transaction.
Yeah. Okay. So if there is a real estate professional in the transaction, that needs to be disclosed.
Yes.
This
Yes.
isn't really a video for real estate agents. I would just say, though, if you are a real estate agent and you're watching this and you have questions about how to and where to disclose that, talk to your broker, because they're the ones
Yes.
that you're covering really with doing this the right way. I will say timeout and buzzword correction. A realtor and a real estate agent are two totally different things. Not totally different things, but
Did I make that mistake? I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah, a real estate agent, if they're involved in a transaction, that needs to be disclosed to all parties so that they know, so that all parties know. But a realtor obviously is just somebody who belongs to a local board of realtors and has that designation. So if it's a real estate agent needs to be disclosed. When you can't be a realtor without being a real estate agent, but you can be a real estate agent without being a realtor.
Really?
Yes.
See, I always learn something from you.
Yeah, you can't. If a real estate agent gets their license and decides not to pay the dues and subscriptions to their local board of realtors, then they don't get the realtor designation.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow. I never knew you could be one without the other.
Dropping
Seth,
knowledge.
please edit this.
No, this is good because I think people miss that a lot.
Yeah, 25 years, I never knew that.
Yep. Okay, and the fourth and final document?
Lead-based paint.
Okay.
Lead-based paint, again, is a state issued form.
Mm-hmm.
You have to disclose whether or not you know about lead-based paint in your house. If a home is built prior to 1978, that form has to be in there. I would suggest put it in there anyway, just to be safe.
And obviously consult your attorney.
Yep.
And where can I get this form?
You can get this form on the Ohio Division of Real Estate as well.
Okay. All right. So we have our contract. Our attorney is providing it / reviewing it. I'm also having a conversation with them. If I'm buying or selling a house with or without a real estate agent.
Right.
But specifically, if you're buying or selling without a real estate agent, these are some of the things that we would recommend that you do is consult with your attorney, use a contract provided by your attorney, reviewed by your attorney, speak with them about the residential property disclosure form, which is I can find on the Division of Real Estate's website, which is a kind of a cover my butt and
yes,
and be honest in a transaction type of form. Same thing with the lead-based paint form. And then the fourth document being the agency disclosure form, if there is a real estate agent involved in the transaction.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Anything else you want to add?
Well, I guess I just want to add, I know everybody wants to save money and the thought of, you don't want to deal with a realtor, you don't want to deal with an attorney, but these are legally binding documents.
Mm-hmm.
And the realtor that I worked for explained it to me this way. The money that you're trying to make from doing something you don't know is going to cost you 10 times as much in the lawsuit that you're ultimately going to be involved in.
Could be, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think if people, especially if you're a buyer, oftentimes it's advantageous to you to use a real estate agent.
It is.
Because most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, it's the selling side that pays those realtor commissions anyway.
Yes.
So why not have somebody in your corner who knows the process?
Somebody looking out for you.
hmm And certainly,
Yes, and that's what they do.
an attorney can do the same thing.
Mhm, mhm.
An attorney in your corner can also be very helpful.
Very helpful. Because
Uh,
you don't, you go through this 1 to 2 times.
yeah,
You don't know what you're doing.
correct. And if you are a seller and you are trying to avoid real estate agent commissions, just get educated and talk to an attorney.
Yes.
I don't know what a short conversation would cost with an attorney, but like you mentioned, it is going to be well worth it. It could be
Well
well
worth
worth
it.
it to make sure you're doing things right and that you're covering your own hiney so that
Mhm.
things don't come back to bite you down the road.
Exactly.
And I think I would speak for most of us when we just say we want to do things the right way and we want to be open and honest about things, and we want to make most business dealings and transactions we're involved in a win-win for both people.
Mhm,
And the better we can do things and the more we can cover all these bases,
mhm.
the better off we all are.
The better off we all are.
Yep. So that's it. Thank you, Christy.
Thank
Helpful
you.
as always. Another episode of Classes with Christy, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.